the culture in England is, it's weird how similar it is, but also how very, very different it is from America. Everything's smaller there and more compact, and people are a lot more polite, like reserved polite. Here, people are nice, but they're very outgoing and nice. Like, it's very rare for English people to start conversations with strangers. They have a kind of a different sense of humor. I think American humor and English humor are both funny. English people don't think American humor is funny, but they like their own humor, so you just gotta figure out how to cater to that. They're just a little more dry. I had a bishop that I was scared to death of for like 3 weeks because I didn't know that he was joking in almost everything he said, because he said it so seriously, but then I realized that he wasn't being serious at all. So you just have to learn how to read the people. Like, there's a different accent. Like every 30 minutes there's like different accents, and if you can learn how to place accents, you'll be people's best friend. Like, as soon as you start talking to someone, oh, are you from up north? Like, you sound like it. That's great. Like, how's it up there? Some of their phrases were a little difficult, and if you get someone from like way up north in Scotland, it's almost impossible to understand them. But I don't think English people can even understand them, so I didn't feel too bad about that. So many Africans, yeah, which I loved. I grew like a special love for Ghanaians and Nigerians. Like, they are the greatest people, so welcoming, so loving. They're very liberal in terms of politics, but they're very like safety conscious. So if you're from America, they'll always say, how can you live in a country that allows people to have guns? Like, that's so scary. How do you ever feel safe? And it's like illegal to have a knife there. Like, you can't carry a knife with you anywhere at all. I'm from small town USA, where it's like a normal occurrence to carry a pocket knife. So I brought a pocket knife because, okay, I'm gonna be like out on the streets all the time. Like, one, that will probably make me feel safer. B, like, it could probably be helpful in some situation. So I brought it, and like 4 months after I got there, I found out it was illegal, and I had just been being illegal, carrying around this pocket knife for 4 months. English food isn't that different from American food. It's just less sugary and less tasteful. They like chicken, which is great. Mashed potatoes. They just call some things differently, like baked potatoes or jacket potatoes there, and they have those a lot. Like, they're on the menu of every restaurant and every fast food place. So the easiest way to start a conversation with an English person is to talk about the weather, which takes a little bit to get into that habit, but once you come home to America and nobody ever talks about the weather, you'll realize how much you learned to talk about the weather. They are constantly complaining about it. If it's sunny, it's too hot. If it's raining, it's too cold. But it didn't actually rain as much as I thought it would. Maybe it was just like a dry spell that they were having. It rained a lot more than I'm used to from the desert, but it did not rain as much as movies make me think it would. And it was only foggy sometimes. But the weather, it will change in like 0.5 seconds. If you go out dressed for a sunny day, it will definitely rain. If you go out dressed for a rainy day, it will not rain. So you just have to basically be prepared for everything. The housing, there in England, apartments are called flats, and most people live in flats. That's what the missionaries lived in, and our mission found like really nice ones for us. I always liked the flats that I lived in. They were all very, very well kept. And there's a lot of council flats, like government-owned flats, like a lot. Like, I think half of the city is just council flats. But you can't really tell because they all look like the same, basically. People for work, lots of the people that you'll meet on the street are carers. Like, 95% of the time, if you ask, like, oh, what do you do for work? They'll say, I'm a carer. So, like, a nurse for the elderly. Because the country is so small, it's very rare for people to have cars. Even though when you're like walking down the street, you see a bunch of cars. Most of the people I knew didn't either had one car or didn't have any cars. And all the cars are really small. Like a Prius is a tank there. They have very, very small cars because they have small streets, and people park on both sides of the streets, so it's basically like a one-way without being a one-way. Their driving is impeccable. Like, I would trust anybody from England to drive me anywhere because they know how to maneuver crazy things. I obviously have people that I love in my life, but I never really understood how much love I was capable of and how deeply I was able to love until I served a mission, until I came to know the people of England. I love my friends in England.